Coaches, Rick Stewart with AllAccessCoaching.com. Make sure you hit the like and subscribe button down below so we can let you know when new content's been uploaded.
And this is the other way we can run the midline. We'll run it out of we'll go our Rhino set, and all that is our tailback. This is our Z. If we go Rhino, this is our Z. That's our A. That's our tailback. We split him out wide just to soften the box up a little bit. But now, for that matter, you can do it where it's A and Z. Now, if we went, if we went left, it would be the Z split out wide, the X would switch sides, and the A would be the slot. But our Z is usually a pretty good blocker. He's always our backup runner. And so how we did, midline, this is against like a four-man front. We saw more four-man fronts this year than we ever have because we threw it more. And so, I drew it against four. It's really easy. That's why people usually do not go four-man against us because of the option stuff. But you can see your tight end, your Y's basing out, first thing outside of him, tackles basing out. This guy's got to take a drop step. He has to take a drop. He has to rock back one step and then work downhill to 45 in order to get the angle to let this guy clear and not run into him. And same deal, this one technique becomes the action key. He can hug it a little tighter if he's washed. And I like this because our angles are better because we're going to step, double team. And you can see everybody else is blocking back. This guard is going to step, play side, step to this nose or the one technique and then work back. Our center was really small, but he was really, really good. Like I said, he was, and you'll see some film of him. He's my right tackle, and this, people always say they don't have players. Now, my right tackle was 6'3", 189 pounds. He was a safety 2 years ago. And my center is 6 foot, 186. Now, these two cats are freakishly strong in the weight room. Like, they're both like 255, 275 hang cleaners, 300-pound benchers, 350 squatters for their size. They're pretty impressive. And they're old school, mean kids, and mean in a good way. They're mean. They're Jekyll and Hyde. They're good kids in the school, but when they put a helmet on, they're lunatics. But a good kind of lunatic doesn't get personal fouls and late hits. They play to the echo of the whistle every snap. Now, they're going to mess up, especially this little skinny kid at right tackle, you see, but he's tough and he gets after it. And these other three guys were big guys. The year before, we were humongous. Three of the five, two of them got preferred walk-ons, one at Auburn, one at University of North Alabama. And my tight end started at University of North Alabama as a true freshman. So I had some really talented guys up front. So we were starting all over this year up front. So it was sort of a learning curve for them. And you can see early on in films, we had to get a lot better. But anyway, this is how we run it with a one back. Well, really technically it's not a one back because we got a slot, but I'm the type of guy I have to learn through watching film. And so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go through our clips. Like, I've got every clip of us running load, and we're just going to go through it and just talk about it. And I'll show you the good, the bad, and the ugly. I'll show you what we could have done better, what we did wrong. Like right now, we're too high. I can tell looking at like we're not bending our knee. Like 58 here, he's the one's 189 pounds. He's not bending his knees. He's too high. The rest of them are okay. They're bigger kids. And we'll just go through and show you what we could have done, why we shouldn't have done it. Talk about, like, if we have some time, I've got like a bonus little goal line run package I'm going to show you. It's really not nothing to do with midline, but I always like to throw something a little extra because, in this world, it's good to share. Most of my ideas I didn't get from anybody else. I got from somebody else. I didn't come up with them. Here's a good example of reading his action key with the fullback. So I've got a young guy. Got a young guy in at guard. Got a sub in there at guard. He doesn't really get any movement. But fullback does a good job of bending that midline right here. And like I say, our two big fullbacks got hurt. And so we had to put our third string tailback at fullback because you can see he doesn't look like a fullback. But he does a pretty good job of, bending it back using that action key right there. And see right there, we didn't get it. We whiffed on the one technique. We completely whiff on him on the midline. See, if we get a block on that guy, we got a pretty good play. Look at it from the end zone. See, we just right now they're this team did a good job of jumping. They were in something different every snap. So they're in 2-3s. Well, you need to run midline. We're in 2-3s. What should have happened? We should have been out out. He should have been there. He should have been there. Center should have been backside linebacker. And my load guy is loading on whatever's left, this safety roll down the box. But, you know, they were jumping something. And D lineman, he did a good job. We had our head down. We should have been, like I talked about right there. If a guy's outside of you, I should have my ear hole if I'm left guard, my right ear should be on his crotch. My right hand should be punching his hip, and I should be turning his body where he can't cross my face like that. Years ago in like 2000, I ran across it was a VHS tape. You know, young coaches may know what a VHS tape is, but it was football for the martial arts. And there was a whole section on offensive linemen, and it was about punching people with the butt of your hand in their hip socket when you come off the ball. Either put the top of your we teach the top of our shoulder and our hands. We're aiming for hips. We don't zone block. We're gap block. We're a gap scheme team, and we down block everything or fold block. Some people call it a fold or whatever. But we're trying to push that guy away from the ball. It doesn't have to be pretty. We try to get an 18-inch surge. If we get an 18-inch surge, we win. That's old Paul Johnson from years ago. You know, he was at Tech and Georgia Southern and Navy and everywhere else. You know, that if his offensive line got an 18-inch surge, he won. They won that play more than likely. And so my play side guard does a pretty good job of getting up under that 3 and see he steps out. I mean, if we get a block on that guy right there at 56, you know, we're probably going in the end zone with our fullback right there. And see right there, I always ask, when you're teaching this to your quarterback, like we're watching film, like we come in sometimes on weekends, mainly it's on Monday morning early. I always ask them who took dive right here. Like who took dive? Like you can watch it. Who took the fullback? He's still running. I mean, and sometimes you got to be careful this. Your quarterback will get greedy sometimes because our quarterback was a really, really good runner. I mean, he was good. I mean, he had about 2,500 yards of offense and like, I don't know, 25, 30 touchdowns this year in 11 games. He was a really good runner. He was a, smart kid, just a winner. And, man, sometimes he would, human nature, he wants to keep the ball. He wants to run, but, they got to take what they give you. I mean, the kid fell down right there, but he wasn't looking at that fullback at all. He's not looking, nobody's taking fullback. He should have gave the ball right there. I mean, our goal is always 4 yards, but I mean, it could have been a lot better. That's weird. It's funny as an older coach, this was the only game we put on grass all year because we have a turf field. Everybody in our region has a turf field. And it was funny. The kids were like, they were slipping and falling a lot because they just weren't used to the footing of a grass field. I guess it's when you're getting old when kids never put on grass. Here's a look out of our Rhino set running midline. This team, Muscle Shoals, was very, very good. They went to the semifinals this year, and they were in our region. And we were outmanned at every position. And, this is, like I said, I'll show you the good and the bad and the ugly because most of the time it's pretty ugly. Because they had so much speed, they could – it's in the end zone shot here. They got 56, 3 technique was very good with his hands. And see, we don't get up. Linebacker was so fast, 50 right there just – that's what I talked about in the last talk is, I don't know if anybody out there, I struggle with this more the last 2 or 3 years as kids bypass it. We work on it, practice and talk about even, I don't ever like to tell them they have a person because that people move and people aren't there. We have gaps and then we have areas, we tell them to work up to the linebacker, but like that guy was so much faster than him. He did a poor job. He was too high. He should ripped up under and he wasn't ready to get his hands on him. You can see here, like I said, I talk about 58. He's 189 pounds. You can do this stuff with little guys, but they were really, really talented on defense. There again, we get 8 yards on this, but who takes the fullback? Really nobody. Nobody takes fullback. You can see right there, we couldn't even read the 3 technique because he standing my guard up and he can't get off the linebacker. But really, nobody took 24. He should have gave it. 24 bends it back because he's reading his action key. That 1 technique, he goes away. That's exactly how he's supposed to do it. There again, the guy that's supposed to take fullback takes quarterback, so he probably should have gave it. But he stands my guard up so much. Like I say, he was 56 was one of the best I've ever seen using his hands, and just I forgot where he's going, but he's a college football player, like I say, and he's another thing we did different this year. We didn't huddle, like we've never not huddled like old school circled up huddle, but because the way the 40-second clock has changed now, and 25-second clock when it's in certain times in the game, so we just line up at the line of scrimmage and call the plays from there and call the formations. So there again, I don't know if anybody took fullback. Let's see. Yeah, I guess he sort of turned his shoulder. And what we started teaching them, we used to talk about if they turn their shoulders, pull it. But now it's got to where people would sit and turn and then fly back out to quarterback. So we've been talking this offseason on how we're going to change how we teach the quarterback as far as reading that, because when you go like Harding, how they do it is they and how we did it too is when we do half line option in practice, and I'll try to pull up some film in a minute and show you the half line option in practice. But what we do is the coaches are the reads. Like I always our quarterback's coach is the pitch read and I'm the dive read. So I hold a dummy over the offensive line. We just do half the linemen. And we do two groups going like rapid fire back and forth. And like we'll go 10, we go like 10, 13, 14. We go 10, 11, 13, 14, 15, 16. That's how we do it in mid-triple. And so that's how we do our option drill. We go fast. And I'm the one that's making him read, because why Harding does that is the coaches, I've got a checklist. Okay, did we make him give it? Did we make him pitch it? Did we make him keep it? So that way, everybody knows as well as I do that you don't always get that look from your scout team. Now, sometimes it's rough. You take a beating out there with a bag sometimes because, those kids coming off block, especially when we do an inside run period, we do that same thing. The coaches we don't ever run a scout team against our offense. We do the coaches hold bags. And then because what we do is we run three groups and everything. So our JV kids gives me reps as our high school kids. Now, you wouldn't know it sometimes when they go out there, but that's a good job right here by 4. He read it correctly. He got in there behind number 34's block. 34 gets in there and blocks linebacker, scores a touchdown. Like I say, 4 had a little burst to him. He was not a bad runner. You can see he does a good job right here. Guy runs upfield. We're too high and right tackle's too high. And it just, we just wall people off. We don't have to be. Like I say, our offensive line was really unproven and young this year. Well, they weren't young. They were older guys that hadn't played a lot of meaningful snaps. And so we really had to come up with ways to help them be successful. And you can say that's 9 yards on 1st and 10. I mean, that's
Coaches, Rick Stewart with allaccesscoaching.com. I really hope this video helps make you a better coach. Make sure you hit the subscribe and like button down below so we can let you know when new content becomes available, because we're all about coaches helping coaches. And remember, coach, better today, never as good as tomorrow.